howdy and hello everyone. Welcome back into T1A. Thanks for tuning back in. Today we got a 2-round rookie mock draft doing some Superflex. We will be breaking down each pick as we go along. Let's get into it.
I am back, motherfuckers. Good to see all you guys again. I know I've been gone for a little bit, taking care of some stuff in my life. I got a job promotion, and so that ate up a ton of my time. But here we are, back on the channel, bringing you guys good content. We got some good shit for you guys today. What do we got, Tank?
We got rookie mock draft.
Hells yes. Let's get into this shit.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, my friends. Great to have you back. Look forward to seeing where we are with all of our research or lack thereof.
Stop talking about me like that.
Oh, it's mine too. I know there's a lot of rookies I don't know about yet. So let's get this switched over here. There we go. Just doing 2 rounds today. Just because we're going to be going through all of them.
Yeah, we're just going to be making a pick. Tony will take the first pick. I'll take the second pick. And we're just going to walk
all the way
this
through.
Yeah, we're just go all the way through, rotate each. And we're just going to base this mostly off of talent. We don't know any landing spots. We haven't even seen a combine yet. So we're just basing this off of what our dumbasses know and what we think. And where we rank these guys basically is how this is going to come out if it were in a draft. So I hope for some surprises and I hope for some shit that nobody would expect.
Yeah. Well, this first one's going to be really pretty straightforward. We're just going to add Bijan in there.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy pick right there. Consensus 101. I don't think anybody's going to pass up on, the new generational talent coming out this year. What comparable to Saquon and Elliott, all those guys coming out. Bijan's going to be a beast. Should be the 101 in every draft.
Yep.
We're not going to add anything onto that because it's too set.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty locked in. I've yet to see anybody really go over him. I've seen the computer auto draft Gibbs over him. I'm like, what the hell? But
stupid algorithms.
Yeah. Just to switch it up, I guess. All right, so you're up at 102. Who are you going to go for?
You know where I'm going. This is probably the consensus 102 for most people. He's probably going to be the 101 in the draft. I'm picking Bryce Young with my second pick. I just think he's got the most tangibles coming in from Alabama. He showed good poise in the pocket, has a good arm, good ability to read the pocket or read the field, see his wide receivers, put the play together. Just think he's going to be the premier quarterback to come out of this draft.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a couple things in notes from around the league that people are going to trade up to try to get him. So
yep, yeah, I've heard a lot of rumors of like Indianapolis trying to do that. I think that's a pretty tough one to have happen, actually. But yeah, Chicago being up there and having Fields already. There has been talk about them trading Fields to try to make this pick and have it be Bryce Young. I don't really see who the fuck you're going to trade Fields to right now.
Nobody's got money to do that. But.
Yeah, so kind of a tough spot they're in right now. I think he ends up being the 101 via trade, but I don't think Justin Fields has anything to do with it.
You and I were talking a little bit before the video, and I think I happen to agree with you. There's just too much upside for this quarterback to not go here. And so we're going to come back and get Anthony Richardson to 103.
Yeah, buddy, I like it.
Big guy. He's what, 6'4"?
232 pounds.
Yeah. And he can run.
Yeah.
Like, you just seen him just tear away from people.
Yeah. And I watched a little video on him. He's not like a gliding runner, right? He's not like a long strider. He's a short stride guy. He looks a lot like Russell Wilson running. But I think Russell Wilson with like 4.4 speed. And this guy's got that. He's great inside the pocket. Saw a couple videos of him dancing up the pocket, making throws with a guy in his face. The big knock on Richardson right now, though, is his accuracy and partially his ineptitude to read a defense. But that stuff he's going to be able to learn at the next level. He's definitely a sit and wait guy. You draft Richardson at 1-3, and you probably should know you're not going to be able to use him the whole next year. Maybe he gets in towards the end of the season, but he is definitely a project guy.
Well, and if he does, he's probably going to be more value in rushing than he is passing.
Yeah, he could be a Justin Fields type guy. And as a QB2 that's putting up, 90 yards and a touchdown plus, some throwing stats and whatnot. Not a bad plug and play guy when you could use him. But just where he lands is going to be a big play on if he ends up at 103 in our drafts or if he ends up like down 106, 107.
Yeah.
So with my
expectations.
With my next pick here, I'm gonna go against some of the trend here, and I think we did. Like I said, or like you said, we talked about this real quick with the
Yeah.
quarterbacks. There's just too much value to be had in these quarterbacks, and I like any quarterback that's got a little bit of leg in him. So I'm gonna take Will Levis here at the 1-4. I know there are split sides. I mean, there are absolute battle lines drawn on Will Levis so far this year, but I think he's gonna test really well. I think he'll come out just fine. He's got Daniel Jones type written all over him, is what I'm seeing.
Hmm.
But all it took with Daniel Jones was a decent head coach that utilized what he's good at to make him effective. And Daniel Jones finished very well this year. Couldn't tell you where because I'm stupid right now, but he finished in the top two or in the top 24 quarterbacks. That's a damn good
Yeah.
return. And if you get Will Levis here at the 1-4 and he gives you a top 24 quarterback return in his first year, that's badass. And then he can just compile on that because he's got the legs to keep giving you the rushing stats. If he can get somewhere where he's putting up decent passing stats, say he goes, there's a lot of talk of him going to the Oakland Raiders. Him paired with a premier wide receiver like Devontae Adams with all
Yeah.
those weapons around him, Josh Jacobs running the ball, that Josh McDaniels offense. I think Will Levis could be a very interesting QB2 pick at 104 this year in drafts.
And I've heard nothing but like he's got a cannon for an arm.
He has an absolute cannon for an arm. So does
So
Anthony
it
Richardson.
kind of reminds me of if you blended Flacco when he first came out with Daniel Jones.
Mutant quarterback.
Ow.
Flacco Jones.
Daniel Joe.
Yeah, Daniel Joe. I like Daniel Joe better. So 105, where you're gonna break the trend of quarterbacks? Got
see,
three
this is
straight
where
here.
it gets hard because you start to see some of this other talent's already starting to fall down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
As kind of predicted, though. Think about the
yeah.
drafts when Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, all those guys came out. A lot of those guys hovered up at the top, pushed some talent down that year.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And this is where it gets a little difficult for me. I think here at the 105 and then about the 108 is where I start having some troubles. I think just because of value, I would just throw Stroud in there.
I was gonna say, dude, you about set the state of Ohio on fire. You didn't do that.
We don't know anybody in Ohio that watches this video yet. So.
I know a couple people in Ohio that might watch this fucking video.
But yeah, definitely complete the quarterback run right here. I'm just so mixed on what Stroud shows. Is it just the talent that's been around him that's elevated him and made his numbers look great? Or does he actually have some skills?
Yeah.
It's yet to be proven. Unfortunately, we get to see some combine work this next week. So
Yeah, I'm interested to see what a guy who doesn't have JSN, Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson as his wide receivers,
and Marvin
interested to see
Harrison
what
Jr.
he's going to do well. Yeah, like where is your talent going to show? And the numbers were great. The talent is there. He's been a Heisman finalist for the past 2 years. So yes, he's a good player. But what you're looking at here is I don't give a shit what guys did in college because you didn't get fantasy points for what they did in college. You get fantasy points for what they're going to do in the NFL on Sundays.
Oh,
and
yes.
I'm not a big Stroud guy. I don't think he's going to come out and set the world on fire. Depending on where he goes, and all those top teams that need quarterbacks are going to draft him aren't very fucking good. So he's a tough guy for me to sell in on and say, I'll take him. Where a lot of people are going it with the 1-3 and just calling that top 3 run there between Robinson, Young, and Stroud as these are the top 3 talents.
Just locking it in, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm saying, analyze that a little bit. I do believe the top 2 are locked in, but once you hit 3, man, really start thinking about who these quarterbacks are and how they're going to help your team out. Not only right now in the present when we start playing, but where their value goes in year 2, year 3.
What can they progress to?
Exactly. So here I am now at the 106. And here's the beauty of this draft. One of our good buddies, Harper, was chirping about this all last year, was the amount of talent that was going to fall into the late first. And now here we are looking at Jahmyr Gibbs, JSN, Quentin Johnson, Jordan Addison. You're at the 106 for Christ's sakes, and these are guys you're having to pick from.
So you finish probably middle of your league.
Yeah, and you're still going to get a top elite talent, right? Yeah. You're still going to love these guys. So I'm going to go with what I've always believed now is the long-term talent and what's going to put out more for me for more years, who's going to keep value longer. And I'm going to take Jordan Addison here at the 106. That's not a knock on Jahmyr Gibbs or anything like that. It's just Jahmyr Gibbs' talent is fucking otherworldly. He's fucking great. Don't get me wrong. But if I'm building a fantasy team and it's a dynasty team, I know there's a shelf life for running backs. And I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is among the talent of what a Bijan is or a Saquon is. So I'm okay passing him up to take the elite and my number one wide receiver in this draft class.
That's who I have for number one wide receiver as well.
Yeah.
It's been hard because there's been so much in just the fantasy industry that's pushing JSN as the number one.
Yeah.
I just don't feel it. I don't see it. Like the ability that he has that Addison does.
Right.
What I see out of Addison is he needs another year of development for the professional level. I want him to be paired with a great receiver like Devontae Adams, where he can learn some of those elite skills and progress.
I think Addison has the ability to come in and be a day one wide receiver one for a team. I feel like he'll have the same type of trajectory as far as Justin Jefferson had, to where there were questions all over the place. Think about Jamar Chase too. Like, think about some of the deals that got taken on Jamar Chase because people had to draft him, or people were like, I don't want to draft him here at the 103.
Well, and then they lost confidence. Like, oh, I can't see the football.
Yeah, all because his girlfriend said he didn't wash his ass and all that kind of stuff. I mean, give me a fucking break here, people. Look, Jordan Addison is going to be an elite, badass wide receiver. He has all the fucking great attributes. He's a great separator. He's a great route runner. He catches the ball away from his body. He is going to be an elite wide receiver. Do not overthink this. He's going to be just fucking fine. Go get him. As far as skipping on JSN, I had to say something about that too. And people are going to hate this when I say it, and I'm going to fucking stand by it until I'm proven wrong. JSN is the next Juju. If he gets to the NFL and he starts playing on the outside, he's going to get shut down. He's going to have to play from the slot, and he's going to have to be put in a situation where he is peppered with targets. Is he good enough to do that? Yes. He has the talent.
Well,
he's already proven he can do it.
A lot of people said the same thing about Lamb coming in.
Right. But Lamb played a ton of outside play at Oklahoma. They were just more effective with him coming into the NFL because he came from that system at Oklahoma. It was more effective for him to play the slot. And then they still had, Cooper was fully healthy then, and Gallup was playing. So it just made a lot of sense. JSN is going to have to land in a really, really good spot, I think, to be a highly productive wide receiver for you.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. Still very good. Don't get me wrong. Still good. But we're talking about, picking Addison. And then I'm assuming you're going to take a wide receiver here too, or if not, Gibbs.
No, I think I'm going to stop the slide here and take Gibbs. He will be
kind of what I was thinking.
A PPR machine. He's going to help you out just because he has that ability to receive. Most leagues that you and I play in have some sort of value on the PPR.
Yeah, most leagues
whether it's half or full.
Yeah, he's going to show in that. And the difference between a rushing attempt and a target, the points you get in the fantasy value, the spread in that is like 1.1 or something like that. So you definitely want a guy who's going to be seeing a lot more in the passing game than he is just straight getting the ball all the time, especially a guy like Gibbs.
Who's not going to be a 3-down back. So you need him to be able to, add as many points as possible.
Yeah, and he's going to sit in, I think, a lot like Kamara, right? Like Kamara took a little bit to get going,
his biggest
to figure out how to use him. Yeah, and everybody's comparing him to Kamara, and I don't see anything wrong with taking that guy and then being ready to get a Kamara type output.
I mean, other than like Bijan, who could even fall to a place where they're going to use him as a committee for a little bit.
Right.
It's just going to be the trend that's going to continue of the running back value being just that little bit lesser, but still valuable, especially in PPR formats.
Definitely. We're at the 108 here, and we are just staring at a plethora of wide receivers. I know everybody can probably see on the screen right now that Zach Charbonnet is right there, and Sleeper, fucking shame on you. I like seeing Michael Mayer up there. I do like seeing Michael Mayer up there, but again, that's way too high in my opinion. There's guys that they're showing in the second round I'd rather get up in the late bottom first. But right here where we're looking at, we're still seeing a ton of elite wide receivers, especially JSN sitting there, Quentin Johnson sitting there, the ever embattled Butte. But where I'm going to go with this, I'm going to go with the 6'4", lightning fast, quick twitch, big badass Quentin Johnson. I think the dude has got everything to go and take it to the next level, go to the NFL and start to dominate. Early, no, I don't think he dominates early. Think T. Higgins. When T. Higgins came out and was with Joe Burrow and they paired up and everything was fucking, this is going to be great. And he was good, but he wasn't fantastic, right?
No.
And I don't think it took Jamar Chase on the other side for T. Higgins to show out, because we saw that when Jamar Chase was out, T. Higgins still showed out. Quentin Johnson, I think, has the same type of career path or a career arc as
Yeah.
T. Higgins does. He's going to start off a little bit slow. He's going to have to get used to the NFL. He's going to have to get used to having corners that are elite
Physical.
corners in his face and getting away from that. But he's going to be able to use all of his athleticism, all of his size, all of his high point of the ball. He's got great ball control. He's got great body control. This is a guy that I want on my team. If it weren't for Jordan Addison, this dude is by far the number one wide receiver in the draft for me.
The only knock that I've really had on Quentin Johnston is he is not aggressive enough at getting the ball. He waits. And that's something that got T. Higgins actually in trouble this last year and got Burrow a couple picks is he's waiting for the ball to get to him instead of going for it and taking it. When he's got the size and ability to just snatch that thing out of the air.
Yeah, and that can get either coached into a guy or it's just an attitude type of thing. But at 6'4", that's like, if you won't go get the ball, fine, motherfucker, I'll make you jump for it. Put that thing 12 foot in the air and make the corner jump 12 feet in the air to get his ass. Well, he's a fucking athletic freak. He's a guy that
from
really
TCU, they're just hitting him further down the field. Like, they're just giving him that open run space to get to the ball.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get that nearly as much as the NFL.
Yeah, he's going to have to learn. He's going to get a little tighter on the routes, which a lot of college receivers, when they're coming in, are going to have to figure out. Yep. But like, he ends up in a good spot with even just a decent quarterback. I think he's going to be – you got to picture like Treylon Burks last year with his at the line of scrimmage catches he was getting that they were showing from Arkansas and the amount of production he was getting off of that. I could see Quentin Johnson seeing a lot of that also in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I hold Addison to that wide receiver one of the classes. His route running is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a fucking great route runner.
I guess you made this easy on me here. We'll just stop the JSN slide.
Ohio,
stop hating me.
Drop the Ohio's into the lap. You fucking take the shame.
You got to look at, some of this, it's going to drop that way. Last year during the draft, you were sitting down to the 1-9, 110. You're like, all right, you can let somebody like Christian Watson or, Pickens or somebody fall down to you because that's where the talent is.
Yeah.
And that's where I consider these classes to be, a good class. Is you're getting deeper into that first round and you still have some great talent. I definitely see JSN being a phenomenal slot receiver that they're going to just move around. But you get into that slot role, you're going to have a playbook that works towards that.
Yeah. He could be game planned in. Like, I keep saying a bunch of bad shit about like CJ Stroud and JSN. But I think they're going to be fine players. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying like don't pick these guys. If I was at the 10, where'd you take him at? The 109. I was the 105. Yeah, I was the 105 and the 109, and these guys are both there. I'm happier than a pig and shit. Yeah. I'm not picking Jordan Addison over CJ Stroud, right? I'm not picking, whoever the hell else we're going to take right here after JSN. I'm not picking them after him either or before him either. They're going to be good players. If you're looking at it right now, the two wide receivers that are taken above JSN, I think are actual pro wide receivers. JSN is going to have to, like you're saying, have to land in the right spot, have to be with the right quarterback, have to be in a system that accentuates the slot receivers, which is prevalent in the NFL. It's like he's not going to find that.
Yeah, like there's so much more three wide receiver sets that are going to allow him to be.
Yeah, Chris Godwin was like wide receiver. I think he was wide receiver 1 overall. Maybe he was wide receiver 2 or something like that. The year that he blew up.
With Jameis.
Yeah, he ran 70% of his slot or his routes out of the slot. So
he also had a major guy, Mike Evans, on the other side. So.
Right, and so if JSN does end up with another prime wide receiver on the other side, even a viable NFL wide receiver, he's going to be able to draw attention. It's going to help him out. He's going to be a good player, don't get me wrong. It's just, will he land in the right spot to get that? And I think that's probably why he's fallen so far down in our draft.
Yeah, you are up at the 110, my friend.
Oh, son of a bitch. Well, it's actually good. This is probably a good spot. I can't count how many drafts last year I was at the 110, 111, and George Pickens just kept falling into my fucking lap. I couldn't believe it. The guy was a great wide receiver. I know he was coming off the knee. That's fine. We don't ever draft these wide receivers. I shouldn't say that. In today's day and age, we draft these wide receivers expecting wide receiver 2 return in the first year because that's what we'll be getting back. And then we expect a jump in the next year. I'm not really expecting George Pickens to just jump out of the gym this coming year. But you can't deny the fact, you can go ahead and set it, I'm picking. You can't deny the fact that this year, George Pickens, if last year was drafted at 110, 111, This year, if somebody traded or offered you 110 or 111 for George Pickens, you tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yep.
But if somebody offered you like the 106, the 107, the 108, tell me you wouldn't fucking think about it, especially if it's like we see landing spots and you guys are in decent landing spots. Somebody's willing to give you that. My point in this is you took George Pickens at 110, 111 last year. Take Keyshawn Butte at 110, 111 this year. Fuck all the hype. Fuck all the shit. Chip Kelly's a fucking asshole, and I can understand why they didn't like him. This is coming from a Notre Dame fan, too, so I know him. Butte is absolutely fine as a talent. He's going to be a steal. He may fall down in drafts, so the draft capital won't be there. It'll scare people off. He might end up in a spot where he's behind people like Pickens did in Pittsburgh. But you don't know what's going to happen, right? He could land somewhere, and then the second wide receiver gets traded off of that team, just like in Pittsburgh. And now you have Butte going into the next year, and nobody's going to offer you 110 for him because they know you're not going to make the trade, so you're going to get more value, or you hold on to him just like you would George Pickens.
So breaking this down, though, into, okay, you're at the 110. You missed the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're getting another great receiver for your wide receiver 3 slot or your flex.
Or shit, he's on your bench because you're not even using him.
Yeah.
Right?
And
because
you just let it go. You let him get his reps in, let his rookie year go.
Yep.
Most of these guys, you can't really expect anything till like later half of the season anyways.
Yes, let him build value, just like George Pickens. It's the perfect cross example. And shout out to BDGE Nick Gerlano for actually putting it on a video earlier that I was actually thinking it. So I feel like I'm stealing it, but fuck you, Nick. I'm gonna say it because it's what I was thinking, man. Damn it. So now you're in the pretty shit, aren't you?
Yeah.
I know there's a guy there you love.
There is.
I know there's a guy there you love. Come on. I
want to reach down and take this.
God damn, that's a deep scroll. You think
it's Josh? It is.
That's
after watching video, I've got to go Josh Downs.
God damn, reaching down the board, baby. Shit.
I was going to go down further, but just seeing his ability to track the ball and just be explosive, it's going to be those plays downfield that set him apart from some of these other guys. So despite him being just a little smaller, what is he sitting at? Yeah, 5'10", 175. It's an inch shorter than Devonta. About the same weight.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a little flyer.
I think he's a great pick. I don't think it's a bad pick there at all. He did well with Sam Howell there. And
that's where he got his notoriety is with Sam.
Yeah, and he's just always been a very productive wide receiver at a very unproductive college at North Carolina. So
and that's what makes it hard sometimes for these undersized guys. Now, in the last video I did, I said I don't want the Tank Dell type guy, the 5'9", underweight, undersized. Like you're at the 5'10", 5'11", you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But you get to that undersized at 5'9", 5'8", and you start going smaller and underweight, like it just is not a combination that wins.
Yeah, I think 5'10", 175 puts you in that gray area. And he's shown enough as a physical player to be able to justify being okay.
And for his size, I think that's a great word for him. He's a physical player for his size.
Yeah, exactly. I'm at a point here where
you're at the crossroads.
Yeah, and this is a tough one. So I'm going to go for the immediate production. I'm going to skip picking Michael Mayer here, who I know he's been ending up in a lot of first rounds. I don't want to wait the 3 years to see if he's going to be any good. I'm not a big Charbonnet guy because I don't think he's going to come in and take over a backfield. He's not a fucking Derrick Henry. He's not that good in the passing game. He's a thumper. He's a good thumper, but he's not on the level of a guy that I feel is ever going to end up being like a full-time RB1 or RB2 on my starting roster. A guy that I feel could touch that, and so I'm going to go ahead and throw him out there. Devin Achane is who I'm going to take here at 112. And I'm going to post this up to a lot of people who are going to know this. I know a lot of guys are going to watch this. I was big on Dameon Pierce last year, and I feel that if you want to talk career arcs, here's a Devin Achane career arc. He could come out of the combine, show the fuck out, end up somewhere, show out in training camp because he's so fucking fast. He's so good at hitting holes. And wherever he ends up at, he could easily overtake that backfield. If he ends up somewhere where he's got to play behind somebody, that's not going to bother me that much either because he's a fucking one-hitter quitter, man. As long as he's seeing 10 touches a game, that's either a handoff or a target reception, actual reception, I think this guy's got RB2 written all over him just because of how explosive he is.
Yeah. One of the things that I do like about guys like Gibbs and A-Chain to lock in their value for a team is they are special teams ready.
Yes.
And a guy like A-Chain, he could get those early touches in special teams and get to see NFL speed and excel. And then he's going to start getting some more rotation at running back.
Yeah, he's going to be interesting to see watching the preseason. That's a guy I'm predicting. He's going to see that. He's probably not going to see a lot of first team reps, but he's going to get in there with the second team, and he's got to bust one play that is just going to make everybody shit their pants and think Amir Abdullah all over again. You remember that guy? That dude shot up fucking rookie draft boards through his preseason. What a waste of a pick.
He had a little value here and there throughout his career, but yeah, I mean, you got to curb your expectations. Great special teams does always not always translate to great player. I mean, you look at Devin Hester.
Yeah,
wasn't a great receiver, but man, the guy was phenomenal returning kicks.
Yeah, he was a pretty good kick returner. Fire off this second round. End it.
No, I can't do it. I really just can't. I got to stay with my wide receivers. I think Hyatt's got another big playability kind of guy. Again, looking at my value in wide receiver and the longevity of what you're going to have, I just see the value being more in the wide receiver favor right here at the turn. That's where I'm at with it.
Only thing that worries me about Hyatt is that I feel like he's got Marquise Brown written all over him. Hmm? Just because he's a fucking. But if he runs 4.2 at the combine, he's going to get draft capital. And that'll mean something, right? And there's a lot of guys that have been picked up in the second round by NFL teams that turned out to be really damn good NFL wide receivers. Devontae Adams was a second round pick. So, and I'm not saying this guy's Devontae Adams, but I am saying this guy is going to help an NFL team be on the field immediately with what he's going to show 4.2 speed at the combine.
Well, and that's what we were looking at with Olave. They're like, oh, all he's got is like this downfield speed, and that's all he can do. And so when then the Saints start using him, that's what they started using him for, is that field stretcher.
Yeah.
And then they realized this guy's got a freaking great ability to be a receiver. And so they moved him as their main wide receiver one and used Rashid Shaheed as their field stretcher.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what Hyatt's got going for him right now. He's got great speed. He's fucking amazing speed. He's got decent hands, tends to catch the ball with his body. Yeah. I don't like seeing college players come out and do that.
Cradles it in a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something I have for this class is just we don't see that aggressive receiver that's just hungry. Like a hungry hippo for that goddamn football. Like, give it to him.
I'd give Addison a little bit of that because he's really crafty about body position or where the ball's going at. But yeah, I didn't see there's not a lot of guys that are just gonna fucking post you up under the hoop and just out rebound your ass when the ball gets there.
Well, and what we're looking at too is you look back at almost a decade ago. Everybody coming out was 6'3", 6'4", just giant possession receiver that they're trying to get the ball to. And then the NFL's changed now with it having more wide receiver sets. You can have that versatility of having a bigger guy, possession guy, a speed guy. Like, you can get a lot more on the field now.
Well, that comes into play that the NFL has turned from, and Bill Belichick started this. It was all about matchups, and that was when they were dominating with Wes Welker, was motioning Wes Welker into new spots, lining him up in spots, getting safeties and linebackers and shit like that covering him, getting them out of their base defenses. And that is where the NFL has turned now. So when you see a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, a lot of 4 wide receiver sets, and even 2 tight end sets, those are all in position to try to create matchups. Right. Kyle Shanahan is great about forcing you to have to cover a guy with the guy he wants you to cover him with. Yeah. Now, not always is that a specific guy, like we want Bobby Wagner to end up on George Kittle. It's more like we want one of the 3 linebackers that are in the play right now to end up on George Kittle. And here's how we're going to do it. And that's how the NFL has changed. It's become more X's and O's as far as how do we get this guy in the right position. And if they fail to cover this guy in this position, this guy will be open. And so, mismatch players are a big thing in the NFL right now.
I definitely think it's much more of like a Madden strategy. Like you're looking to, you're looking to exploit this position. I mean, you have your other checkdowns you're looking at, but you're really looking at a play for this one mismatch.
Right. Or exactly how you're saying.
Yep.
So am I at 2-2 now?
Yep. Double deuce.
Okay, I will definitely continue the slide of one player, but end the slide of another. And this is actually right about where I think he should go. I'm going to take Michael Mayer here, the tight end from Notre Dame.
Notre
All around a
Dame.
great player. He's good inline blocker. He's
Yeah.
good at short route running. He's got enough speed to stretch the seam. He's a good all around football player, right?
Yep.
And that's what I think you're going to see in the tight ends in this class. We've got some very show out guys, but I think like last year you had more guys rise to the cream of the crop because there was a lack of cream, right? And so the guys who actually rose to the top were because there wasn't much there. This guy and another guy that I know we're probably going to talk about before this draft is over. This guy and the other guy they're NFL ready to come in. They both are decent blockers. Mayer's definitely better at the blocking.
Yes.
But if you're going for the all-around player, the guy that's definitely going to get play time as a career arc, I would say TJ Hawkinson. I don't think Meyer's going to give you much in the first couple of years. It's going to take him time to learn the NFL system. You got to think, he's coming out now. So he spent a couple years in a Chip Kelly system, which isn't very tight end friendly. And he spent 1 year this past year in an NFL offense. So it's going to take him a lot of time. Taking him here, though, I think is a really good stash. You can use him for value later on tight end hungry teams. If you're in a tight end premium league, or as Tank and I are both in a double tight end league, where Mayer will not go at 2-2. He will go way earlier than that. But
no, he'll probably be at the 110 or earlier.
These will be guys that you can plug and play throughout the season. They're going to give you sporadic tight end numbers probably, but you're already fucking dealing with that right now if you don't have one of the top elite tight ends. So you may as well grab another fucking dart throw, another young guy who's going to be around. I mean, the premium on tight ends for how long they last. Mayer's 22, 23 years old? Doesn't say. But if let's say he's 23, you're looking at 10 years out of your tight end to gauge value in versus, if you took a wide receiver or one of the running backs right here, that could be limited, especially as the wide receivers have dwindled down because we picked the shit out of those guys. And now we're into like the coin flip running backs. Who the fuck do you really want to go after now?
So at the 2-3, I'm taking Zach Charbonnet because he's got a good all-around skill set. The more I've researched him, I don't like the comp that I've come to in him, but he's going to be better than the comp, I hope, than I've come to, and that's Ronald Jones. So he's coming in. I know that's what I've come to, though. But I'm seeing him as being faster, a little bit better. In the video I compared him a little bit to Rachaad White, just coming in with a good, versatile skill set. What I've really seen, though, that sets him apart is his trust by with the coaches to be putting him in third and short, fourth and short, goal line, and converting those. So that's where his big value comes in. And if he's getting goal line touches, I'll take that in fantasy football.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a beast. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, he's not Derrick Henry coming out, right? But he's still going to be a big back who's going to get play on first and second down. He's going to get goal line work. So he's not a bad pick at all. I think Brian Robinson
6'1", 220. Yeah, he's just got good size, good all across the board. Nothing that's going to stand out to the super phenomenal, except for he could have some good, speed when they test out in the combine.
Word. I hear you on all that. With my next pick, now there is a tangle of running backs here. There's
a whole mess of stuff going on here.
And they're all good running backs. Don't get me wrong. But sticking to my philosophy, which granted now this philosophy is new because I didn't follow this philosophy all the way last year. And I picked a hell of a lot more running backs than I actually fucking ended up wanting to. And I got behind a lot of those running backs that I really probably shouldn't have gotten behind. Let's name a couple. Zaquandre White was one. I don't think he played a fucking single down in the NFL this year.
Nope.
Kennedy Brooks was another. I was really fucking in on him.
He ended up going back onto Philly for a futures, though.
Yeah, and now these running backs, those aren't those guys, right? Like those guys I'm talking about, those were late third.
Oh, those were our dart throws.
Yeah, they were stashed. But it led me to start realizing that, hey, look, the value on a running back is so fucking flexible. It goes up, it goes down. It really holds value very long. They have to be in a good spot, but you can always get them a little bit cheaper later. Wide receivers, though, if they pop, it's fucking insane. Yeah. So with my early second round pick, my 2-4, I'm going to take Zay Flowers.
I like it.
Now, I've heard comps of Zay Flowers being the Chris Olave of this draft. He's got great speed. He's got great route running. He's got good hands. And I keep saying good, because
Where
nobody
did I hear that
says,
before?
nobody says, fuck, this guy is great.
Yeah.
But why can't we just grasp the fact that he's just a good fucking football player? And Zay Flowers is going to get drafted probably to a decent team, be their wide receiver 2. He's not anybody that teams are looking at right now, I think, to be their wide receiver 1 and come in and lead that
Well,
class.
there's
their
been
group.
mock drafts that put him into the first round.
Yeah, see,
I think
and I
that's
can't fucking get
absolutely
on
crazy.
that. Yeah, I can't get on with
Granted,
that.
I think where did he go? Oh, I think he went to the
Boston
Ravens.
College. Oh, in
No. I
mock
meant
draft?
the mock draft. They had him going to the Ravens.
See, if he goes to the Ravens, I wouldn't take him at 2-4 because I don't trust that shit. I don't trust it. I just don't. You don't know what
Yeah.
the fuck they're gonna do next year. You don't even know Lamar's gonna be there. Like as of right now, if somebody told me this guy is gonna end up on the Ravens, it's like fucking put his ass in the 3rd round because I want nothing to fucking do with him unless he's built like Marquise Brown and it's a guy that's trying to out throw Lamar's arm.
Zay Flowers,
But
5'10", 172.
yeah, we're talking about a pretty small-ish guy,
Pretty
right?
lean. Yeah.
But a very productive wide receiver, and he's going to fit in today's NFL, just like JSN. He's going to get look. He's going to be in a 3rd spot. I don't think he's so untalented or so not good that he's going to end up in training camp. He's not going to have a tough time beating those guys
winning that position.
Yeah, he's not going to have a tough time winning the position to get to the 3rd spot. A lot of 3rd and 4th wide receivers in the NFL he's going to be competitive with them. So he's a guy that I'm okay with taking here early in the 2nd round. And fuck those running backs. Like, I'll just see where they land up later.
Well, I think this is where that slide goes to, and we start seeing the running backs come off the board. And it's going to be whatever your flavor is, what you think out of these guys. And we'll kind of go through that here.
Yeah, landing spot's going to have a lot to do with where these guys start falling out and start moving up.
I'm just going to go ahead and get Zach Evans off the board. Just speed. Running back can get down the field fast, breakaway plays. That's what you're hoping for. Mid-2nd round, you're just hoping a guy gets some touches.
And I don't have much else to say on that. Like you're fucking completely right. He's a good, solid NFL running back. I think he's going to find place somewhere. You just hope that it doesn't end up being a situation where you need an injury to happen. You hope it's a situation that ends up where like, hey, he's clear cut. We're going to have him as a 1-2 punch with this guy, and then kind of go from there. We're going to go ahead and keep the running backs rolling here, and I'm going to take Tank Bigsby.
Yep.
I'm going to take long-lasting production. The guy is shown to be productive in college. Playing at Auburn, he's in a pro-style offense. So let's get him into any team where he can help out, and I think he's just going to be one of those guys that you're putting in a flex play. You're hoping for RB2 weeks. And every once in a while, RB1 week, he's got those abilities. He's not just a plotter. He's got some ability in the passing game. He's not completely inept.
Nope.
I think he's going to be an all-around good, solid player that if you have him on your team, you're filling a flex spot right here. And I don't think you have to second-guess anything about that.
My dream landing spot for him would be on the Chargers. I think you could pair him up with...
I have too many Spiller shares. I have too many Spiller shares.
I was like, whoa. But no, I think Bigsby would be a great compliment to Eckler. Especially in this first year, and take some of that workload off of Eckler and let him prolong for another year or two, because they're going to have some rough year ahead of them.
Yeah.
With the potentially having to cut or move Mike Williams and or Keenan.
I'll keep it in the NFC or the AFC West with him, and I'd like to see him land in Denver.
Oh,
Javante's going to have a minute to get ready, so he's going to come in probably the first back up to get a run. And then Javante has always been a 1-2 punch guy, and I think Bigsby lines up good as a 1-2 punch. He's got thumper ability. He's not built like Melvin Gordon. I don't think he plays like it, but I think he fills that same slot that Melvin Gordon did.
And Melvin Gordon was very comparable to Javante when they played. I mean,
yeah, and I'm not saying Bigsby has all those same traits that Javante does, of course, but as a guy that, maybe they're getting in like the 3rd or 4th round of this year's draft, for us to take him right here in the middle of the 2nd round and him to end up in a spot like that where he's splitting carries on a high octane Sean Payton offense in Denver, I think that'd be fucking ideal.
Well, and we've already seen multiple Sean Payton offenses where they've used two backs,
Yeah,
and they're both great.
All the way back to Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush. I mean, like
Yep.
if hopefully anybody who's on here remembers who that is.
Turn back time on that one.
And that's also to say on Tank too. That's because we keep doing comparisons of like where we want him to end up at, and there's always like another elite back there, right? Eckler, Javonte Williams,
and we're not phased by it. That's the funny part. Is like you put him with somebody, you're like great, because he's
a lot of that
truly reliable 3-down workhorse.
Yeah,
but
I think that's what I was getting at is that I don't think we're not predicting that he's going to get drafted somewhere and be the workhorse back.
Yeah.
Like he's a committee back. Welcome to the new NFL. Understand who workhorse backs are and who committee backs are, and just pick from the best committee backs you can.
Oh, great. Because I'm going to do another one here with Kendre Miller.
Oh, this is all you. I have no idea who the fuck this guy is.
TCU. He's actually the reason. Oh, shit. Who was it?
Oh, actually, I do know who this guy is. He scored 17 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget who he had. Somebody moved. I think it was Evans moved from TCU because Kendre Miller was doing so well.
Yeah. He ended up getting the starting job last year.
Yep. And
so I know a little bit about this guy.
But that's essentially why they ended up hitting the transfer portal, is because this kid was coming in and he did great.
I don't know shit about him. I know TCU did really well last year. I know that he was a great back. He was at 6.7 yards a carry, which is fucking insane. I think he had 1,399 yards rushing, 17 touchdowns. So he was very productive on a
quite a bit for looking that up right away.
Well, the beauty of being me is that if I read an article 9 times out of 10, I can retain some shit from it. But
nice.
I can't always retain the name to the stats. So go figure that in my brain on your own.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, it's a
dangerous in there.
A million stats, and I only have like 100,000 names. Like, piece that shit together.
On top of what you do for work too. But yeah, he's a quick guy, good speed. He's one of those guys you get at like the 30-40 yard line. He's got the ability to take it to the house from there every time.
Mm-hmm.
But he just lacks that long speed. Like he's not going to be breaking off the 70-80 yard rushes. He's
got good size too. 6 foot 220. Yeah. Like you're going to put him in. He's going to get.
Well, that's a 3-down back size, but I don't foresee him being that skill set to be able to do all of that for them.
If I could add more, I would add more.
2-8.
At the 2-8, I'm going to take Noah Hill's new favorite guy, Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker from Syracuse. Kid showed out pretty well. He's got a 1,400 yard, almost 1,500 yard season on his resume. Only put up 1,000 yards last year. It was on 40 less carries. And he took a dip in production last year, a yard off per carry. But
that's pretty big.
That's the negative side, right? And that could be anything.
But is that the offense? I mean,
that could be offense.
Year over year.
Line. They could be not running the ball as much because they're not effective, which is why he saw 40 less carries. I don't know everything that happened in there.
Yeah,
I don't
game
watch
type situations.
Right. But what it boils down to is
205.
He's a perfect NFL size running back. He is adequate in all aspects. He has great vision. Sean Tucker is going to make some NFL team that's going to probably take him in like the 3rd or 4th round. A lot of these running backs are going to go there because of how many there are in this draft. Mm-hmm. Some team is going to get him there, and they're going to get a great all-around running back that's going to be on a team at least through his rookie contract. Do you know anything about Sean Tucker?
Not really. No, he's one of those names that I recently started looking through some of the mocks, and he's starting to work his way up from the 3rd round into 2nd rounds, and then like late 1st in some things. Just depends. 1 QB Superflex. He's on my list of I need to do some research and some film watch on him because I didn't really know his name.
Do work.
Do it.
Me too. I need to do work too.
Well,
all you guys are listening to this. If anybody's listening to this and they're like, they don't really know who a lot of these guys are, I think a lot of people that do listen to us right now probably know who a lot of these guys are. Make sure to leave comments for us, man. Like, put comments down in. Fill us with some of your knowledge. Let us know what you know about guys like Kendre Miller. Like, give me good, give me bad. Same as Sean Tucker. All these guys that we've been dogging on too. Like, give me stats on JSN why he should be going above Jordan Addison. If you can fucking actually have a good stat. So
yeah, if you can convince us of that.
That leaves you, Mark Vito, out of this fucking conversation.
I think just because it's Superflex, I can't do it.
I think it's time.
All right, I think we throw him on here. I've waited long enough.
This is your fucking man crush.
Yeah, it is. Mine for this year. It's my Dulcich of the year. Probably not as much. He's not as pretty.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
But a guy that scored 5 touchdowns in a game. What do you have? 890 yards, which was 55th in all of NCAA for receiving yards. It's a guy that can be a game plan very much like Kelsey. I see like Kelsey, Kittle type of guy that can, they just end up, that's where the weak spot is in the defense. He's just going to get fed. It's going to take him a couple years to get more blocking ability, very much like Pitts. It's going to, he's a tight end. He needs to be able to block. So that's good. Some of his skill set that he needs to improve. He's okay at it, but he definitely needs to make some improvement. But as far as hitting the seam, check downs, this guy is going to be a quarterback favorite target when he gets to an offense.
Yeah, I think Kincaid's got a fucking great career arc lined up for him. He's already a proficient in route running to the point where it's not even what people are going to see if you watch some of his film. You're not going to see like a guy that's running these like precise, pristine routes, just 90s on his fucking out routes, and these perfect, beautiful post routes, because the good NFL tight ends don't do that. Watch tape on Kittle, watch tape on Kelsey. You guys are making
they find weird, the empty zone pockets.
Yeah, they're making weird little moves just to get a linebacker to turn their hips so that they can get into that little pocket right there for their quarterback. The big thing that's going to happen with both Mayer and Kincaid is the same thing that's going to happen with every tight end. It's going to take time for them to get used to the NFL level, and they're also going to need to pair with paired with a quarterback that can excel them and accentuate what they're doing. Right, like these guys are complete opposites in how they run routes and how they are in the open field.
Yeah,
Kincaid he's shifty. He's good at reading what's going on in front of him. He's really good at reading his zone defense. And you saw it in Utah because he read it a lot like his quarterback did, which is why he saw so many targets. The one knock I give Kincaid is when people start wanting to talk about what he's done stat-wise. And the only reason I do that is because of the inflated stats of the conference he played in, the Pac-12, the no defense conference. That doesn't shy away from, if you go look at the tape, you can see that Kincaid is reading the defenses. He's a very adept player to what is going on in play.
He's aware.
And if you're having questions about that and you're watching him, you're just like, I don't really see it. I can't see what the fuck is going on. Look at the other wide receivers that are out in the formation and where the play is running, right? And you'll see in the zones where these guys need to turn their routes, tweak their routes a little bit, and they're not doing it, but Kincaid is doing it. So notice those little things when you're watching, if you're watching film or if you're getting any kind of information build on a guy, like what his win percentage was and what his rates against zones were. Put that into his team also. See what the efficiencies on his team were. And that'll also help you break down if a guy is just really efficient and getting a lot of targets because he's really good, or if because everybody else around him sucks.
And the one thing that I really saw with Kincaid's route running is his ability to set up this quarterback to get him the ball. He's giving him that step or 2 steps for a window to get the ball in there. One of the videos I was watching, he's running a 9 route, a streak down the field, but he turns his hip just enough to give the quarterback the outside.
Yeah, and that's all coaching. And Kincaid's been very well coached at Utah. He's going to be another one of those guys, man. You're just going to have to sit back and wait. Probably going to get a couple big games. If I were to predict it this year, Mayer may get drafted above Kincaid in most rookie drafts, but I bet Kincaid finishes above Mayer this year significantly, even.
We are at the 2:10. We're almost done.
So I don't think this guy actually has a chance to start anywhere this year. It would really be nice to see him go somewhere where he has a possibility to at least fight for the job in preseason, and then get declared not the starter, only to be the starter in week fucking 5. I'm gonna take Hendon Hooker here, super flex. Grab as many quarterbacks as you can. Hendon Hooker is
funny. That's who I was debating over Kincaid. I just
he has been a stalwart for Tennessee. He's been a rock in the pocket. He's good at getting the ball out to his playmakers. He could be a good NFL quarterback. It's worth taking a shot on him right here. I feel better about taking Hendon Hooker here than I did, say, Matt Corral around these areas last year. And Sam Howell, I think, was a little bit further on than that, so I can't really add him in there. So I feel like it was more like Hendon Hooker, Matt Corral. Like if you were taking Matt Corral last year at about this time in your drafts, then why would you not pull the trigger on Hendon Hooker and give it a shot?
Yeah, absolutely. He's done nothing but be good for his offense. He's got 2 of his wide receivers coming in the draft this year. And that's because he helped set them up for success for being speed receivers.
Definitely.
So he did. I believe he also led Tennessee over Alabama.
Yes.
And that was a lot of him because I don't think there was a lot of defense in that game. 49-52.
Yeah, not a lot
So
of
you
defense.
can't say that there was a ton of defense in that game.
Yeah, not a lot of defense in that game.
5 touchdowns, 385 yards, 56 yards rushing.
Yeah, not very good.
Hyatt had 6 receptions for 207 yards. Should be all right. Good enough to be a pro level backup. You know, that's kind of what I'm saying for Hooker. He's going to be that. Who just retired? Chase Daniel.
Yeah.
Somebody like that, where it's just like he keeps going to every team. When he gets the backup role, he's like, oh yeah, he's good enough.
Yeah.
He's solid.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get a run. He's going to get a shot, right?
And
Like
then
they're
they'll
going to
put him in
draft
as
him
starting
early enough.
quarterback for a while, and they're like, yeah, maybe.
If I'm picking in the first and second rounds and I'm taking quarterbacks, I'm taking a quarterback there that I think actually has a chance to be like, give me half a season as a starter.
Yep.
Right. That's all I need, because if you get half a season as a starter, you've probably already exceeded the value in which I drafted you at, all out of the 210.
Yeah.
And now I'm trading you away for the 105 or some shit. You know what I mean? It just.
Oh yeah, especially he gets that start where people are like, "Oh, I need a quarterback." You're like, "Cool, give me that 1-8."
Yeah, as part of strategy when you're doing these drafts is you're not always going to be able to fill out your entire team, right? You don't draft for need, you draft for value.
Yes.
And in this situation, this is a perfect example of drafting for value, because the value increase above 210 that you're picking the player at is highly, I shouldn't say highly, it is higher than from anybody else I can see on the board right now that I would rather take a shot on. So a quarterback sitting this late in the second round that has the potential to be a starter is way more valuable than what's available.
Well, and you look at to me, this is like the first 4, kind of like a big drop in tier is Hendon Hooker, and then there's another huge teardrop all the way down to like Stetson.
Yeah.
Like I can't take Stetson in the second. He's going to be like a mid-third at best, just because he's going to be a perennial backup no matter where he goes.
If ever. He's fucking AJ McCarron playing the XFL again. Come on now.
Yeah, well, the one big knock on Hooker too is he's coming in so much older. 24, almost 25.
Yeah.
So that's the only real downside I have for him, is just his age. But he's got good mobility. You know, if you can get 50 yards rushing out of a quarterback on a game basis, I'll take that. So 211 here. You're really starting your dart throw area. There's just a lot down there to decipher that I haven't deciphered yet. But one of the players I do like, we've kind of touched on him. Might as well put him right after his quarterback, is Tillman. Another speedster guy, not super flashy, not amazing at a lot of things. He's fast, so just hoping for some touchdown upside and a few catches a game.
Size. He's got great size, 6'3", 215.
Yeah.
Decent high point at the ball. But I mean, really, Jalen Hylett was the fucking star on that team.
Yeah.
Tillman did show out though, and like he's going to the NFL and do what you can there, man.
Well, at the end of the second too, you're looking for guys that have a shot to play.
Yeah, and a receiver with prototypical size like that, I like to take that shot rather than a guy like a little Wandale Robinson type guy. Like I'll take a 6'3", 215 guy over a 5'9", $165 guy any day.
Well, then I'll take him over like Claypool, Chase Claypool.
I'll take Claypool.
I mean, I'll take Tillman. You know, that's just where. That's just where I see him. You know, his ability is like he's very similar to Claypool. He's going to be a longer field stretching kind of outside receiver that can do contested catches, but is that going to be enough to warrant him being like a wide receiver 3 on the year?
We hope, right? Shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're hoping for a deep flex rotational player.
Yeah. And that's just year 1, right? So you don't even know where after that. But again, value plays. Speaking on value plays, and I think I'm looking back on this, I have drafted 1 running back, and it was at the end of the first round. So I'm going to end it this second round and this entire draft with my second running back. I'm going to take Kenny McIntosh. Playing on what you were saying, right? We're taking value guys here. We're taking dart throws. We're getting into that range right now. Absolute dart throw guy here. But I don't think it's one of those ones where like the bullseye's normal size, right? I think the bullseye's like bigger on this guy.
Yeah.
He's in the Georgia lineage. He showed out good last year, had 829 yards rushing, and he's just typical in that Georgia line. He's 6'1", 210 is a good size. He's going to come into an NFL. He's probably going to end up playing like a Zay White role, right? Like he's going to get stuck in behind somebody. But if we're going to do dart throws and we're going to play on talent, give me a 6'1", 210-pound running back.
Well, especially as you start to turn into that third round, that's what this is all starting to come is you're looking at those dart throws.
Yeah, exactly. But he also showed last year that he's got good catch chops, 43 catches last year. That's huge in a fucking college football season. So transfer that 43 catches into the NFL, give him 800 yards, a couple of touchdowns. You're looking at RB2 at the end of the second round, and not a whole lot's really going to have to go his way. I mean, just end up in a spot where you're fucking Jamal Williams light and make some people happy. I think this is a good pick to end the second round on and start getting into the dart throws. If you could expand that list up a little bit more, or is that as big as it goes?
No, this goes.
Okay. So, and then I've got the same list here. So I'm going to look on my side because even with the glasses, I can't see that fucking well.
Rasheed Rice, Chase Brown,
I'm going to fuck his name. I'm going to fuck his name all up. Israel Abenaconda. You know who the fuck I'm talking about. The running back from Pittsburgh. A lot of talk about this guy.
Yeah.
A lot of talk about this guy. He would be somebody that I would definitely probably want to take a flyer on. He's going to be a guy that if he gets drafted in a good spot, it's going to shoot up. He's going to take place of some of these guys that we've got in the later second.
Roshan Johnson.
Yeah.
Similar guy.
A ton of guys here that are still not so much of a dart throw, but like good, talented players. As fantasy players, we want to see where the hell they're going to end up at and if they're going to be able to help us out. It's just a showcase to what I think everybody's been saying about this draft class since last year is it's deep. What everybody's been saying is that this draft class, though an elite above range talent, right? Like, undeniable, we're picking these fucking guys. I think you've got maybe 3 guys, and I think it's Bijan, I think it's Bryce, and I think it's Jordan Addison. I think those are the 3 guys in this draft that they're elite talents, and if you can get them on your team, fucking get them on your team.
Yep.
But other than that, the talent is good. It's going to be a good influx into the NFL, especially with how many running backs are starting to cycle out now, getting up in the age.
And that's something that I was going to bring up is like we're at a big crossroads for running backs.
Yeah.
The dynamic of the running back positions changing to more committee, those elite 3-down running backs that we've had for the last few years in fantasy football are aging out. This class is actually fairly deep as far as the running back position.
Yep.
And some of the talent that's there, but they offer so much versatility that it's great because they're coming into a group setting where they can utilize their skill set and not be forced into like a 3-down role.
Yeah, I do caution this though. Okay, those who are looking at this and hearing this and being like, "Holy shit, that means there's a ton of opportunity to come out." You're right. There is a ton of opportunity to come out, but that doesn't mean any of these guys are going to earn it. Right?
It's opportunity.
A lot of these guys rate out on the level of Tyler Algier last year. Tyler Algier didn't show out. He just got the opportunity to gain 1,000 yards, and now everybody's shitting their pants about him. He took
over Cordero's stuff, and the offensive scheme changed.
Right. So don't mistake it and start reaching up for these guys just because, well, the new influx is going to be these guys and this new running back. Like they're still the best players who are going to win the spots and they're going to play. So be sure when you're looking at these guys and where they land, you're assessing the situations that are there, making sure you're not making a play on. If you were a guy like last year, you were a guy that went after Dameon Pierce, okay? And I was one of those guys. The biggest fear I had every night when I went to bed and running my roster through my fucking head was the Houston Texans signing a veteran running back. I was scared shitless because that took that player out of that, right? So make sure you're understanding how secure that player is in their position, where they got drafted at, where that team's needs are, and how well that guy is going to maintain his value in that. And keep in mind that with the influx of a lot of crossroad running backs going out this year, a lot of those guys are still going to stay. So sure, this year a team might draft a Kendre Miller to fill in behind a Zeke Elliott while they franchise Tony Pollard. And I'm spewing bullshit, but don't oversell on Kendre Miller because the actual guy who's going to take over the Dallas Cowboys running back room might be in next year's draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So be like water, my friends. Understand the situations you're in, right? Realize that just because the opportunity is there doesn't mean you need to go ape shit in this draft. It's going to be a 2-year process for this running back overhaul, the turnover that's about to come around. It's going to take 2 years, and the elite talent guys are the guys that are going to win it. So make sure you're on top
and
of
we're
those running
looking
backs.
at rookie running backs. They don't start hitting until midseason.
Right, exactly. Well, except Bijan.
Well, Bijan, he's going to be put into a role.
Yeah,
Brees, even
we
last
don't know
year.
that. We don't know that. Yeah, but
No,
Brees got
we
brought
don't know
into a
shit.
role. Brees got put into a role where there was already guys
but he didn't really start hitting until like a second or third game in.
Right, but like say Bijan ends up where there's no competition. Like what if Bijan ends up in Carolina?
Yeah.
Right? Bijan is a fucking RB1 if he's in Carolina. If he has nobody in front of him, then he's fucking skyrocketing.
Yep.
And I have a tough time believing, especially in today's NFL, that a talent like Bijan will drop out of the first round. I think he'll get drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
And a team's not going to draft a running back in the first round without need for a running back.
Unless
you know
you're
what I mean?
Meyer.
Unless you're Urban Meyer. But Urban Meyer, I mean,
there's a reason he didn't make it.
That proves the point, didn't it? So yeah.
So anybody surprise you kind of out of this draft that we did?
No, honestly, this is kind of how I see a lot of these drafts going. A lot of people are going to talk about, wide receiver talent getting pushed down the board, and running backs will be pushed. I think you can take pretty much the top 10 guys we have there right now and mix them up however the fuck you want, aside of where Bijan's at. And that's going to be probably the 10 guys you're going to see come off the board. So if you're picking from 11 on, you can start doing your work on that. But I think the top 10 guys in this year's draft are what we have there. And to tie into what I was saying about players getting pushed down, I don't think it's going to be a lot of wide receivers getting pushed down this year. You've got good wide receivers coming out. So they're going to push running backs down. I have a tough time believing that, people are going to be picking guys like Charbonnet or Evans or Bigsby above a lot of these wide receivers. The only thing that I could see that would change in another draft that we would see that would surprise me is this 4 running back string we went on here in the middle of the second round. It wouldn't surprise me to see people reaching for other talented wide receivers there and then shoving even that much talent of running back into the third round. It's just going to depend really on what type of league you're in and how the guys draft. People have a hard on running back.
With it being linear too, I wouldn't be surprised to see Hayden Hooker fall into this middle second round more.
He could.
Just because people are needing a quarterback.
Yeah, he could. But with 4 this deep, a lot of people I think are going to make more of their push to try to go up and get one of the top 4 here that we're looking at.
I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah. I think the one thing, if I was an outsider looking at this and said, what surprises you, it would be the 4 quarterback straight in the top of the first. And not sneaking in like an Addison or a Gibbs or anything like that. But I think we explained why the fuck we would go that route anyway. So
yeah,
if you think different, go fuck yourself. Oh, hey, yeah, I wanted to, before we shut it down here, I wanted to give a shout out to our buddy Canadian Rob for hopping in and doing a show with you, filling in while I was out.
I appreciated that.
I hope to be back more. It probably won't be as frequent as before, but things are starting to come to fruition at my new job. I'm getting more time on my hands. I'm getting a little bit more weekend time. So as that continues and as it grows more, then yeah, you'll see more of me. But until then, man, Tank keeps holding it down. Make sure you guys are watching. Hell yeah. Make sure you guys are watching Tank Teaches. Those fucking videos are awesome. I watched the first one. It was really insightful. Gave a lot of information. If you're watching us in the middle of this because you are just getting going and you just found us, make sure to go hunt those down on our channel page and check that shit out. Also, make sure you are hitting the like button because that gets us out there to more people. And make sure you're subscribing to us. That way you see everything new that we're putting out. Tank's got our Twitter handle up there. We don't do much on Twitter. So, go check it out, though. Go leave us a fucking comment. Call us assholes. Whatever the hell you want to do. We don't really give a shit. All right, motherfuckers. It's good to be back. Check us out on this draft. Like we said, leave us some comments. Some shit you guys think we did wrong. Some stuff you thought we did right. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe. Peace out, motherfuckers.